Hello all and welcome back to my channel. I am Rebecca Bhattacharya and I will be continuing with the deep learning playlist. In my previous lecture I have already discussed with you about the gradient descent and the stochastic gradient descent optimizers. So in this lecture I am going to start with the activation functions. I will discuss about the basic of the activation function and the different types of activation function, but for this video I will discuss only the basic definition, and I will discuss about the threshold activation function and the sigmoid activation function. The rest part I will discuss with you in my future videos. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So let's start with today's lecture, that is activation function. I will first tell you about the definition of activation function, then I will tell you about the two types of activation function, that is linear activation function and non-linear activation function, and in non-linear activation function I will discuss with you about the threshold and the sigmoid activation function. These two activation function I will tell you in this video, and there are many more activation functions. I will tell you about those functions in my future videos. So let's start with the first topic, that is what is activation function. Now I have already told you about this fundamental term in my first lecture, that is activation function generally helps to activate the neuron, and it helps to predict the output. It actually helps to take the decision by the neural network. So the activation function is applied on the weighted sum that is calculated in the hidden layer. So this is actually the weighted sum, right? The product of the weights with the corresponding inputs plus a constant or a bias is added to the weighted sum, and on this term the activation function is applied. After this activation function is applied, the neural network can predict the output, that is whether it will be 0 or 1. So it just activates the neuron in order to predict the output. Now there are two types of activation function, that is first one is the linear activation function and the second one has the non-linear activation function. In deep learning we use non-linear activation function because linear activation function has some drawbacks for which we cannot use it in our complex input data. So first let us start with the linear activation function. So we already know about linear equation from our 11th-12th standard, right? So this is actually the linear equation, that is A is equal to Cx. Linear activation function means it will take the input, the weights will be assigned with it, and it will create an output. So this is actually a sort of linear function which is given as A is equal to Cx. But we cannot use this linear activation function in our neural networks. Why? Because there are two drawbacks. The first one is that we cannot use this linear activation function in backpropagation. Why? Because we already know that the backpropagation algorithm updates the weight in each epoch in order to minimize the loss function. So in that weight updation formula there is a partial derivative term, right? Because the formula is Wn old equals to Wn new minus the learning rate into the derivative of the loss function with that particular weight. So this derivative term cannot be found out using the linear activation function. Why? Because let us consider this equation a is equal to cx, right? Now if you find the derivative of a with respect to x, then in this case it will be a constant c, right? So this the activation function cannot be used because the derivative cannot be found out in case of linear function, for which it cannot be used in back propagation. This is the first disadvantage. The second disadvantage of the linear activation function is that no matter how many hidden layers we add in our neural network, it collapses into one, because we know that the linear combination of linear function will be a linear function, okay? It will never be a non-linear function. So if we apply an input layer, and even if we apply thousands of hidden layers, it will collapse into one and it will produce a single output layer. So it cannot stack the hidden layers or the multiple layers one after another due to its the linearity property. These are the two drawbacks for which we cannot use the linear activation function in deep learning. For this, we use nonlinear activation function in deep learning. So what is the nonlinear activation function in deep learning? The nonlinear activation function generally helps us to extract the complex feature of the real world data, which are generally non-linear, and after extracting the features of complex features of this the real world data, that can perform the necessary training based on the complex features and can produce the output. For this reason, we can use nonlinear activation function because it has the capability to work with complex parameters of our input data, which are generally nonlinear. So there are two advantages of nonlinear activation function. The first is that it can be used in backpropagation algorithm, because backpropagation algorithm has a derivative term, and the derivative of the nonlinear we can find the derivative of the nonlinear function, for which it is possible to use in backpropagation. The second is that it helps to stack multiple layers. So even if we add thousands of hidden layers, nonlinear activation function does not give a linear output. It will help to stack all the multiple layers one after the another because of its linearity property. Now there are 6 types of nonlinear activation function that we use in deep learning. So what are the 6 types of nonlinear activation function that we use in deep learning? The first is the threshold, the second is sigmoid, third is tanh, fourth is ReLU, 5 is the liqReLU, and the 6th one is the softmax activation function. So these are the 6 nonlinear activation function that are generally there in deep learning. In this video I will discuss only about the threshold and the sigmoid activation function, and in my future video I will discuss about the remaining 6 activation function. 4 activation function, that is tanh, ReLU, liqReLU and softmax. So let's start with the threshold activation function. So what is threshold activation function? Threshold activation function is generally a unit step function. Why it is a unit step function? Because if we can consider this equation, that is, if z is greater than equal to 0, then it will be 1, right? Z is here is the weighted sum, okay? So if the weighted sum is greater than equal to 0, then the output will be 1, and if it is less than 0, then the output will be 0. So it is actually the unit step function. So this is the output 1, because here z is greater than or equal to 0. For this case the output will be 1, and for z less than 0, that is for this region, the output will be 0. So this is actually the threshold function. But there are some drawbacks of threshold function for which we cannot use it in the every cases. So what are the drawbacks of the threshold function? The main drawback is that it cannot be used in multi-level classification problem. Why? Suppose you have 3 classes of animals, that is cat, dog and tiger. You have given inputs of all the data records, and you want to predict whether a given test image or whether a given image is a cat or a dog or a tiger. So let us suppose that after performing the necessary pre-processing, the weighted sum calculated by the neural network for the hidden layer in the neural network for all the 3 classes are 5 for cat. The weighted sum for the class cat is 5. Weighted sum for the cat for the class dog is -2, and the weighted sum for the class tiger is 7. Now you can see here that for the class cat and tiger the value is greater than 0, right? So according to threshold function, the neuron will be activated and the output will be 1. So the output will be cat and tiger, but a particular animal cannot be both cat or tiger. It has to be either a cat or a dog or a tiger. So in this case it is a problem for the threshold function in order to predict the output. So what we need here some intermediate activation values. That is, if it gives the activation value as like 0.5, 0.6 and 0.7, then based on which value is higher we can predict the output, or we can also select this that we want only one neuron to get activated. So this problem is basically solved by the sigmoid function. How it is solved by the sigmoid function? The sigmoid function solves this problem by taking the inputs and converting the outputs between the range of 0 to 1. That is, the output will be not either 0 or either 1, but it will be bound within the range of 0 to 1. That is, the output will be between 0 to 1. The equation for the sigmoid activation function is this, that is xz equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z. Here z is actually the weighted sum. So this is the formula for the sigmoid function, and you can see this diagram, that this is the diagram for the sigmoid function. This is actually the graph of the sigmoid function, and this 0.5 is actually the threshold. So if the value is greater than 0.5, then it is considered as 1, that is the output will be 1 or the neuron will be activated. And if the value is less than 0.5, then it will be considered as 0, that is the output will not be will be 0 and the neuron will not be activated. So this sigmoid function actually solves the problem for the solves the problem and helps us for the multi-level classification that the threshold function cannot. So it solves the problem of the threshold function, but again it has 2 drawbacks. Okay, so these 2 drawbacks are the vanishing gradient and the exploding gradient problem. These are the two drawbacks of the sigmoid function, for which the other types of sigmoid function, that is Danage, ReLU, leaky ReLU, was discovered. I will be discussing about the 2 drawbacks of the sigmoid function, that is vanishing gradient and exploding gradient problem, in my next lecture. So this is all for this video. See you in my next lecture. Thank you.